Hi, this is Mike. Welcome to my vlog, which this week is about the victory, the 7th consecutive victory for Burnley over our longest, most hated, most bitter rivals in the entire country over a massive amount of time. Coventry City. It's a weird one. This rivalry is totally fired up by social media and on Twitter. It started in the summer when we tried to buy Callum O'Hare. We had several attempts, it didn't happen. And from that point, basically the cesspool that is Twitter, you have both sets of fans increasingly trying to wind each other up in the worst word there is in the English language, banter. And basically you ended up with a situation where both sides managed to work themselves into a frenzy of hatred over something that literally did not happen. Now, I am of the opinion, and this is before Space Karen actually took Twitter over, I'm of the opinion that social media is probably the worst thing that there is for football fans. And that's even worse than the coverage of football in general in this country and the existence of Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton's broadcasting careers. Twitter is worse than that. It basically has inflamed a rivalry from nothing over nothing into the point where both sets of supporters are hurling abuse at each other. It's not even a wind-up thing. It's not even a joke. It's not even funny because basically bottles are flying between the two sets of supporters. You've got people breaking minute silences for a laugh. Now, I'm not actually in that case. I'm not blaming Coventry supporters for that. It was clearly one or two absolute dickheads, and the first people to shush them and quiet them down were fellow Coventry fans. But the point is, someone did it because they wanted to and they thought it was funny. There were bottles being thrown across, and then you get language on Twitter, which things like vile scum, and someone said that bottle going across was a Molotov cocktail. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. I know we live in a social media age where there is no black and white, but there's also this extremity going on. This where every game is insane carnage, where every goal is absolute scenes, where YouTube videos, and I say this as someone who does YouTube videos, are full of fake expressions in order to get the hits and the attention. And this is where we end up. And I know I sound like an old man yelling at clouds, but basically, I didn't have a problem with Coventry. I used to live in Coventry and work in Coventry for a couple of years. I quite like the place. I think Coventry are a decent club. They've actually got quite a rich history of influencing the game. And some of the things that Jimmy Hill did as a chairman are interesting for what they did, for how the game progressed. And so to end up in this situation where the two sets of fans absolutely hate each other over, as I say, something that never actually ended up happening is insane. It's crazy. It's mad. And it's not particularly fun. It's not particularly funny. I mean, this is the thing. Some of the language that happens, some of the banter, it's just dull. It's boring. It's unoriginal. If you want to be attacking another club, be amusing about it. But all we get, they're singing yet again, Burnley's a shithole, we want to go home. You know what the response is? Home? Yeah, for Coventry City, that's about to become the biggest branch of Sports Direct in the country. That's how you react. You don't turn around and start just effing and jeffing because it's just a waste of time. It's ridiculous. But, football reflects society. We're in a very divided and tribalistic state of mind in the country right now. And this is probably just another example. And there was a couple of things as well, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure this happened. When I was looking at the team lineups on the big screen, I'm pretty sure it said Callum O'Hare was playing for Coventry. Now, he's out injured, There's an amusing thing. Coventry fans saying, you don't have Callum O'Hare. Well, neither of you this season. That's the way it goes. But his name was up on the board, and that was a bit of an odd one. It took me a while to work out that he wasn't actually playing. Who was wearing that shirt was Callum Doyle. Now, I can accept that being a mistake. I can accept that being a cock-up. But when Ian Maatsen got the sponsors man of the match, now Maatsen had a decent game. Maatsen made one of the passes of the season. But that was a wind-up. That really felt like that was a wind-up. And, it was kind of like, we're better than that. I know we're top of the league, but we're better than that. I'm not going to get into the warm down stuff or anything like that, but there was a couple of moments where, as a club or as representatives of a club, sometimes it's okay for fans to actually have a go at each other. That's sometimes, the boundary. But when the clubs start kind of joining in, even in these subtle ways, I'm kind of thinking there's a line crossed. And players can wind each other up. That's the way that goes. But clubs, not so much. That is where trouble tends to happen. But this is old man yelling at cloud stuff, and at least it gave me a title for this one, which I thought was going to happen. Actually, the game itself I thought was a fantastic advert for the Championship. Two very good teams going at it, back and forth. It wasn't the most sort of end-to-end game or anything like that, but Coventry was certainly the best team that I've seen at the turf this year. They came to have a go. They came with a plan. And in that first half, obviously it was foul conditions even by Claret's standards. They played better. They played Burnley off the park. I thought they were much, much the better team. They were playing some very nice passing, some very nice pass and move. They were closing Burnley down. Burnley were definitely off it. That midfield was not good. Brownhill, Cork. Cork took a very early yellow card, and he could have taken it even earlier than he did. But that basically made he was ineffective for the rest of the half. I'm not surprised he got pulled off at half time, because he could not do his job. That yellow card, and it was a deserved yellow card, basically meant he was ineffective for the rest of the game. But in that first half, Coventry played the better stuff. Burnley couldn't find any rhythm, couldn't find anything that they were trying to do. Sorori and Benson couldn't find a teammate with a map, quite frankly. And although Coventry didn't really create much, I didn't think, they looked the better side. And definitely at half time, I was kind of thinking to myself, we're in a bit of trouble here. This could be the end of the winning run, and if we're not careful, it's the end of the unbeaten at home run as well. But we got to half time. VK made the obvious change. You saw JBG warming up at half time. He came on for Cork, and then even then, actually, right at the start, Bayer did that back pass. And we saw Benson do that against Borough and fail, and Bayer did the same thing and fail. And he gave it to Gyökeres, who has been a fantastic player for Coventry this year. I can see exactly why everybody is interested, including Burnley. But, Gyökeres, I was kind of surprised. He messed it up. He never really looked like scoring, and that was kind of an odd one for me. Josh Brownhill redeeming himself for a bad first half performance by sliding in and taking the ball away. And that pretty much was that, because Burnley dodged that bullet and then started doing the thing that I absolutely love seeing this team do, which is they begin to build the pressure. They begin to keep the ball, stroke the ball around, but also bring it forward with speed and start pushing the opposition back. Suddenly the ball starts moving side to side, and it starts moving always forward. The wingers begin to move further up the pitch. They always seem to be 18 yards out from the goal line. The Clarets begin to smother teams. It's incredibly impressive to watch. There is no respite for the opposition. There is no way out. The ball stops going out of the opposition half, crossing the halfway line. And then after about 10 minutes, I don't know if you've ever seen, if you've noticed this happening, the ball stops even making it to the edge of the centre circle. As everything gets compressed, every Burnley player is forward and smothering and pushing and pushing. And it's going to be really difficult. It is relentless. It is wonderful to watch because we're the team doing it, because the crowd is building as well when this is happening. Everything's building, the momentum is building, and the pressure is building. And for the other team, it feels like a goal is coming with the inevitability of an unloved season. You know it's happening. You know it's going to come. It's just a matter of when. And to be honest, I knew it was coming, but, it was a little bit later than we normally do it. A lot of goals have been scored between 55 and 70 minutes this season. And that's always, the moment that the dam breaks, and another goal will come after that and another after that. But it got a little bit sort of closer to the end. There was that fantastic save from Nathan Teller. I think the keeper didn't get enough credit for that. Zarori's cross was utterly fantastic. VK brought Teller and Barnes on at exactly the right time as far as I'm concerned. J-Rod had a very thankless game in that whenever he got the ball, there were 4 Coventry players around him. He couldn't do anything with it. I know he's a little bit off form, hasn't scored much, but that's the kind of game where he didn't get much opportunity to shine. His back was always to goal, but he did his job in tiring people out. And then Ashley Barnes comes on, Nathan Teller comes on. It's a different kind of play. They're running at tired defenders, running at tired players. It's exactly what you want to see. And Zarori's cross, that Teller header, was absolutely fantastic. Really good save from Wilson. I think he deserves more credit for that. Benson, you put your money on scoring, but he didn't. And you're beginning to think, actually, maybe this isn't our day. And, fair enough, considering the first half, we didn't really kind of deserve to go in level at half time. So maybe justice is finally going to, be there, for us for, a 0-0 draw. And that's okay. I was kind of happy with that. But, then we had the little set of handbags. And I've watched ice hockey for 30 years. Okay, when ice hockey players have a fight, there is a reason for a fight, and they do it properly. And what I'm really sick of doing is seeing footballers basically doing the sort of school handbags that a primary school kid would be embarrassed by. I mean, Teller comes in, he gets tackled by the defender, he does what he can to avoid bumping into Wilson. Simple as that. Wilson then just decides, this is an affront to his entire integrity, and starts getting hold of Teller. Teller's actually, for all his smiles or whatever, he's a feisty little sod sometimes. So they're both basically going at it. Everyone's having a bit of a bundle, and that's all it is. It's literally a playground bundle, and it's ridiculous. The referee booked both of them. I think it was probably deserved. I want to say, actually, the referee, I think, had a good game all the way through. I think he made the right decisions at the right times, not least of which, going back to the start, not least of which cutting the minute's silence short when it was clear that the 2 sets of supporters were not going to keep quiet. But I think he had a good game. I think he did the right thing. And the one thing I actually said to the guy next to me when he threw the yellow card at Wilson was, goalie's been booked now, we can't time waste anymore. Corner is taken, Bayer scores his first professional goal, has no idea how to celebrate, everybody's happy, and then I turned around and said, well, he definitely can't time waste anymore now. It was a good header, a really good header. Interesting to see that Mark Robbins blamed the scuffle beforehand for his team losing concentration. I thought it was a really good point. I thought it was fair play to him. Especially considering it was his own players who managed to start that scuffle and lose their own concentration, whereas the Clarets were, basically taking advantage of the situation by scoring unmarked. I think it should kind of shows the difference in attitude as well. You cannot ever let your guard down against this Burnley side. They remind me, and I hate using this comparison because of company and blah, 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 but when you've got someone like Man City who are relentless, they never ever lose composure. They know exactly what they're doing at all times, and the moment you lose composure is the moment they strike. This Claret side are exactly the same as that. The moment that you lose composure, that's the point at which they score, and it was great to see them taking advantage of that. And then the game kind of, not so much petered out. I was expecting Coventry to do a bit more, but I think they were just too tired. As a final thing, Wilson not learning his lesson, had a bit of a tangle with Ashley Barnes. Barnes, on this occasion, was trying to behave himself. He really was. But what was very funny was that Wilson made the situation worse. And everyone in the stadium knew what was coming next because the goalie gets rid of the ball and no one's following the ball. Everyone knows what's coming. Ashley is behind the goalie and smack. And gets a big cheer for it. And it's like, yeah, you did it again. You lost again. Be smarter than that. I'm all for a little bit of afters, a little bit of shoving and all that kind of stuff, but you got to be smart about it. You've got to be clever, pick your moments, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Ashley Barnes, you can set your watch by him doing that stuff. He's an absolute expert at it, and if you take a swing at the king, you better not miss. So we're still top, 5 clear, 17 ahead of third place. perfect place to be. Looking at the remaining 19 fixtures, I think they're quite favourable to us. We do have Norwich and Borough away. They are probably the trickiest away ties that I can see coming. But we got Sheffield United, Watford and West Brom at home, and that I think is a nice place to be. Much as I think Norwich and Borough are good sides, I would actually turn around and say Sheffield United, well, West Brom and Watford, they're the danger sides. They're the ones we have to watch. And they've all got to come to Turf Moor, and I don't know if anyone's going to like it. I think this Friday's game against West Brom is going to be very, very interesting. I think we're in that slightly dangerous position where expectation, playing out the string of games, waiting for what seems to be the inevitable, that allows things to slip a little. There's a lot of talk about record point setting and winning streaks and all that kind of thing, and a little bit dangerous talk, that, especially with Harwood Bellis out for at least the next couple of months. I have a sneaky feeling that we're not going to see him till for the rest of the season, which leaves us with Charlie Taylor as centre back, maybe the new guy Al Dakili, maybe Luke McNally. I don't know. Simple as that. But I'm not sounding alarm bells or warnings. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that record points is going to happen. But I don't care whether it does or it doesn't. All I care about is having enough points to actually get automatically promoted. And, with 19 to go, I reckon another 9 wins would actually do it. Now, when they get those 9 wins, that would be impressive. Wouldn't it be nice to be in 9 wins between now and mid-March? But, not going to happen. But it's a nice place to be. So that's my thoughts on this week. Let us know your comments below, because I'm kind of interested in what people's kind of attitudes are towards this sort of playground social media-y stuff. As I say, it could be an old man yelling at clouds. I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. And I'll be honest, I was a dickhead when I was their age, so I'm not having a go at them, but it's kind of like, I do kind of see some of the stuff that gets posted on social media and see vlogs and all that kind of thing, and I keep thinking to myself, that's a lot of alcohol. I remember my first pint, and you drink any alcohol kills brain cells, and lose any more, and some of these people are talking monkeys. So let me know what you think. Let me know your comments. If you've got any questions that you'd like me to answer, or any opinions you'd like to know, then leave a comment below. And up the Clarets.